Hello, welcome to our PowerPoint about defense mechanisms. This little cartoon, it's not denial, I'm just very selective about the reality I accept. So first of all, what are defense mechanisms? Defense mechanisms are psychological strategies according to Freud. Okay, this is not fact, it's according to Freud, that are unconsciously used to protect somebody from anxiety arising from unacceptable thoughts or feelings. Okay, so let's look at this little example I have here. I failed because my teacher hates me. Okay, what probably is the truth here? The truth here probably is that the person did not prepare. Okay, that's an uncomfortable thing to admit to yourself, maybe. So they, instead of the anxiety arising from the truth, which is I did not study, I'm not a very good student, something like that, right? Whatever the truth is, they're going to blame somebody else. Okay, so that's protecting them psychologically, because they can blame somebody else and then it makes them feel better about themselves. So I'm going to go through a whole bunch of defense mechanisms here quickly. So first of all, this first one is denial, and you probably understand this pretty easily before even knowing what it is, right? So simply refusing to acknowledge an event has occurred, a person would act as if nothing had happened. Freud believes that this is subconscious and is used as a coping measure, okay? So in a very extreme example, a man with a deceased wife still sets the table for her every night at dinner. Okay, that's extreme denial. Also, an alcoholic denying they have a problem. Okay, because it's easier to just deny it than actually deal with the problem. Next is sour grapes. So this is used when we devalue a goal that we didn't achieve. Okay, so this is something we wished we had achieved, but when we didn't, we just say, oh, it's not as good as we thought. We make ourselves feel better by talking about its bad features. Okay, so I auditioned for a musical. I didn't get a part in the musical, but it's because that musical is so stupid, and who wants to be in Grease anyway, right? So instead of actually looking at myself and saying, oh, I didn't do a very good audition, I blame, it's the blaming of someone else again, blaming of something else, talking about its bad features. Next is sweet lemons. So this is used when we've not attained a goal, once again, but instead of getting upset and blaming the thing and saying it was bad, we just give reasons why we were better off not having achieved that goal. Okay, so you try out for a soccer team. You didn't get on the soccer team, but you're like, oh, it's fine. I don't care. It would have taken too much of my time anyway. Okay, so I'm better off not achieving the goal instead of actually having to deal with my feelings and my upset feelings about not getting on the team. I'm better off anyway, okay, because I would have had to go to practice 5 days a week. Next is fantasy. So this is where people give into desires and imaginary achievements, daydreaming, living in a world where their fantasy life is better than reality. For example, I am the best singer at this school, right? You may know some people like that who kind of live in this, they state a lot of things that aren't necessarily true about themselves, and you're like, how can they actually believe that? So those people are living in fantasy because they don't want to deal with the actual reality of what is maybe going on in their lives. Next is regression. So this is used when we go back to an earlier developmental level, when we dealt with things in less mature ways. And this is instead of having to deal with them in a mature and measured way. So for an example, somebody gets a bad mark on their grade 12 chemistry test and they lay on the floor crying, bashing the floor, rolling around, having a full toddler tantrum, okay? Because they don't want to actually sit and think about what the issue was. They just have a full-on tantrum. Repression is different than regression. This is preventing unpleasant or painful thoughts and memories to surface. So just an example, every time I start to think of my grandfather who passed away last year, I push it down and distract myself so I don't have to deal with the pain. Okay, so never actually letting yourself feel the pain, but always pushing down, so repressing your thoughts. Projection, projecting your own fears, feelings, or anxieties onto somebody else. So I am afraid of driving, so therefore I will never let my child get a driver's license. You can probably, this is a very common one. You can probably think of some examples of people in your life or when you have projected your own feelings onto people. Reaction formation is used when we hide an unacceptable, so we feel it's unacceptable character trait by showing the world an opposite character trait. Okay, so let's say I have very low self-esteem. I'm actually very shy and I don't want to be. I've always acted as the class clown, always getting attention because I want to show the world an opposite character trait to what is really going on inside. And if you know, there are a whole bunch of comedians who actually have extreme depression and unfortunately have committed suicide. And I really think that this is what's going on there, right? So somebody who looks really funny on the outside, somebody like Robin Williams, who actually has extreme depression, this is a very good explanation of that to me, in my opinion. Rationalization, trying to prove to oneself that one's behavior is acceptable when in reality we're actually just making excuses for unacceptable behavior. Okay, so let's say I really want to get into running. Okay, I really want to get into like working out and exercising, but I haven't gone running in a week because I don't have time and because it's cold outside. Okay, so I'm making excuses for my unacceptable behavior. I'm blaming, and it makes me feel like my behavior is fine when really I could just go out and run. Sublimation, transformation of unwanted impulses onto something less harmful. Okay, so let's say I get in a fight with my boyfriend. I'm really, really mad. I go and play my guitar to express my feelings. I go do some art. I go work out. I go for a run. Okay, something that's constructive instead of something that's harmful. So this is, you have feelings building up, and instead of actually dealing with these feelings, you just go out and run. And displacement, this is shifting actions from a desired target to a substitute target when there's some reason the first target is not available. Okay, so my boss yelled at me at work. I can't go yell at my boss, so I go home and I take out all my anger on my kids. Okay, so I'm displacing anger from the place I could put my anger, which is my boss, and onto a more acceptable target. Okay, because I'm not allowed to yell at my boss. And this is a video on Anna Freud, who is actually Sigmund Freud's daughter, and she had a lot to do with coming up with this defense mechanism theory. And this is an interesting video for you to watch. And that's it. Talk to you later.